sand, so it's tough. So I just broke out stuff and sprayed it around the sliding door to keep them out. Right. I've stepped on it for them. Give it 30 seconds. I would like to call to order the regularly scheduled meeting for March 20th of the Board of Sedalia Township Trustees.
Calling the roll. Mr. Haddad is absent. Mr. Mahoney?
Here.
Mr. Genowine?
Here. Simcoe is out too.
Right.
And Susan is here. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I do not believe the minutes for the last meeting are ready yet, so we won't be approving any minutes. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
I have none.
And has anyone signed in to speak on agenda items?
Nope, nobody signed in.
Okay. That leads us to the zoning department.
Darrell has his monthly report, and step aside.
Thank you. Yes, in February we had 17 permits for a value of $1.4 million. It's better than last year. We had 15 permits and about 2/3 of the dollar amount. In fact, it's our best in 4 years.
Nice. Could it be the leadership?
I think it's my charm and the warmth of my smile, or maybe the mild weather, but probably the former. The BZA, we didn't have anything. That meeting was canceled. And in the zoning commission, we just had the Brent Lane zone change.
Hey, Darrell, thank you for listening last month on getting, comparing, those are important things, comparing last month's, and if you could do that, continue to do that, that'd be wonderful.
Sure.
Thank you.
Kind of makes up for our slow January that we had.
Next item is a resolution by the Public Works Department. This is one from last meeting.
Good evening. Recommending resolution number 12-038 to hire a mechanic for the recently retired mechanic back in January.
I'll offer resolution 12-038 to hire a mechanic.
Second.
Calling the roll. Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everything's going smooth. Spring cleanup starts April 2nd.
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
I'll have a few items at the next meeting, but after everything's going well.
And we have our meeting with the county this Thursday.
This Thursday?
Yep.
Yes.
Hey, Greg, one quick question, stupid question on my part, but can you mix when people put leaves and sticks out front, can they mix them?
We prefer that they're separated.
Okay.
If they're mixed, then it will require a different crew to retrieve those items.
Okay.
To dispose of.
Okay.
We have 3 different types of machinery out trying to provide this service.
Okay. Great, thank you.
If the sticks not are big, then the street sweeper can't pick them up and that.
Mm-hmm.
So, in fact, our website tells the people to separate them.
The website doesn't talk about the thickness of the sticks, though.
I think it's a 6-inch. But, I mean, we're not measuring.
Okay, okay. I just had a couple.
Yeah, Greg with a tape measure.
All right, thanks.
Next item is the fire department, and Deputy Chief John Reed's here to give a report.
Good evening. Chief Kowalski had a personal commitment to attend to this evening. You'll find the monthly report for February submitted for your review. Just a quick summation, fire responses were down for the month in all categories with the exception of good intent. That kind of bucked the trend, and that's just consistent of, a call that someone thinks they need, but, as it turns out, we get there and there really isn't, but the intent was there, so that's a good thing anyway. EMS calls are down as well, and we truly believe that this is attributed to the mild winter, that we haven't had the number of accidents and slips and falls with inclement weather. Mutual aid incidents, there were 6 total. We received 4 for motor vehicle accidents with request and transport units from surrounding jurisdictions. We did offer Springfield 2 engines for a structure fire call. Community risk reduction, we had a total of 8 public safety events for the year. Chief Kowalski did a fire safety talk at Olivet Christian School. Chief Freilich conducted 6 plan reviews for the month of February, and he also cooperated with the State Fire Marshal's Office and conducted 3 inspections that are mandated by the state. Commercial business inspection program got underway in February. Our training, well above the targeted training hours for the month. We did go over with all our certified inspectors the code changes with the Ohio Fire Code, the 2011 edition that we're still waiting to receive. And we also conducted training with Springfield Township on some mutual aid. We got to see some of their assets and resources that they have, and so once we begin the advanced mutual aid agreement, then we'll be well prepared. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Thanks, John.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. And then we have Chief Bowman for the police report.
Good evening. You have before you the monthly report from the police department. You'll see the calls for service for the police department at 1,342 for the month. The charts are in front of you on page 2. I won't go through everything, but on the following page, page 3, you'll see that with that total, we are down just slightly year-to-date through February as compared to last year. Our tickets are exactly, I don't know how we did that, exactly where they were last year. Property damage accidents, you'll see that we're down quite a few. And again, just like Chief Lee said, for the EMS calls and such, we attribute that to the good weather. Interestingly enough, the injury accidents are in fact up a little, but quite honestly, when the weather's bad, you can't get going fast enough. There's less injuries. When the weather is better, you tend to have the higher number of injury accidents. You'll see the different offenses down there. I won't go through all of them. Again, we're still up as far as our burglaries. I'll go through a couple of cases in the cases of note in a couple of pages here that might be interesting to you. But we're pretty much consistent with last year as far as our overall reports and such. Page 4, detective cases, there were 40 of them assigned in the month of February, of which they cleared 19, still have 21 active. They cleared an additional 32 cases from prior, and for a total clearance of 51 cases. Page 5, the 2 reports or cases of note there, 12912, the aggravated robbery of the Wendy's at gunpoint. You'll see that subject was responsible for a couple other robberies in other jurisdictions. We were able to identify him and make an arrest on that. And the burglary on Chancery, we were able to recover most of the stolen property and identify the suspect, and charges are pending in that. And then I know one thing that's been of interest is on the next page, page 6, the sewer grates. It wasn't only the township sewer grates, but Jim Swakowski of JMS suffered losses too in his parking lot, mainly Central Park West. And you'll see that we ended up identifying a suspect and making an arrest in that. We're community affairs. We continue to, they're organizing the Citizens Police Academy. They continue to utilize the citizens volunteers to the tune of 22 and a half hours in the month of February. Those hours do jump considerably as the weather gets better. One thing of note you'll see there on page 9, a statement from Officer Maniszewski, is that we're really trying to get into schools more often and have a visible presence in our township schools. Unfortunately, it's neither one of the high schools at this point, but it's 2 of the 3 middle schools and 4 of the 7 elementary schools. And we're really making a point of getting in there and having a presence. Not just because of what happened over in eastern Ohio, but we have a good relationship with the schools and such. So it's something that we need to be doing. We continue to do the ALICE training. Stranahan's the only school currently in DARE. The other ones graduated last semester. And then, we have things coming up that we'll talk about later, such as Safety Town and some things like that. And obviously a lot of big public community events, such as the fireworks and things like that. And I met with we have a training committee. I met with them last week, and officers are doing individual training now that they sign up for. But as far as what we call the core training, we're trying to identify if we're going to do 16 hours or 32 hours. We need some good topics. We've gone over some things, but I'm awaiting a couple of proposals from them before our next meeting, and then we'll move forward on that. But that probably will not take place until fall, after the vacation season anyway. And again, we continue to train. We're going to start our pistol qualifications toward the end of this month. We'll be qualifying in shotgun in April and the rifle in May. And with that, the other pages are self-explanatory as far as some of the revenues and expenditures and such, and I have nothing more. If you have any questions. Okay.
Quiet evening Saturday?
Pardon me?
Was it a quiet evening Saturday for the St. Patrick's Day, or?
Yeah, it was relatively quiet. So, and I actually conducted, interestingly enough, 2 sobriety checkpoints down in Springfield Township. So I haven't seen what the results of those were yet, but, hopefully people were being good.
I heard Sean's back door opened it for business on Saturday, and that was very well received, I heard.
I saw that. I just happened off duty to drive by there, and there were a ton of people outside. I mean, it was that parking lot. I've never seen that parking lot full, with the family video there, and that parking lot was packed. So hopefully he'll do a good business there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good work.
Thanks.
Thanks, Chief. Under the administrator, I have one resolution, and it's the resolution 12-044, intent to sell property on the internet, by internet auction. And the Ohio Revised Code provides that annually the trustees will pass a resolution saying that they will use the internet for sale, and this resolution then spells out the terms of the sale, and this will be posted, I think, on our front board, and then also in the newspaper of general circulation.
I'll offer resolution 12-044, intent to sell property.
Second.
On the roll, Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genoway?
Yes.
Next item is a fiscal officer, and I think I'll look at Jim to take care of that.
Geez, I feel bad, I got all these items, First item up is the financial month-end analysis for February. All the departments, with the exception of the fire department, is within their limits. The fire department is over just a touch, and it comes down to the fact that they made one big purchase for personal protective equipment. And it's one or 2 times a year, and that's going to skew your number. So I'm not concerned about that at all. So, but other than that, we collected quite a bit of our real estate taxes. It's not in February report, but we just had a settlement for the first half, and we've gotten all that. We haven't gotten our homestead taxes yet from the state, but those will be coming in shortly. But the revenues and expenditures look in good shape.
Are the revenues trending upwards, or?
Touch, but not nothing to be excited about. No. You see a big variance in the percentage in the general fund and the other places, the other funds, but the reason being is the general fund has a wider variety of different types of revenue. For instance, we just got a check for the estate tax for the first half. And that's not in there yet. And just other types of revenues that we receive in the general fund that we don't get. And we don't get as much of an advance in the general fund as we do in the other three funds from the Lucas County auditors. So consequently, that number's down a little bit compared to the other ones, but it'll come up, so.
Hey, Jim, not to put you on the spot, do you remember offhand what the state tax amount was?
It was, I saw the check.
Sorry.
300 and some thousand.
For the first half?
First half, yeah.
Okay.
So, if I remember correctly, I saw it and I thought, well, if we get another one of these, I'll make my budget for the year, which is 700,000. Any questions? Okay, I do have 4 resolutions that I'd like to present for your approval. First one, excuse me, is to increase the appropriation in unencumbered balance. And there's three line items there, and let me see if I can bring them up so you can look at them here. Advance out the $1,500 that the fire departments received an EMS grant last year, but they didn't spend the money until this year. And in order to comply with it, we have to advance $1,500 into that particular grant fund. So that's our match. Okay, for up front, and then when we get all the monies in, they'll pay that money back. The second one there is $22,000, and that's, we got a check for insurance check for a house that was damaged, and the process there is they sent us a portion of the insurance proceeds. If the homeowner complies with the rules or the township rules and getting it fixed, then we will pay that money out. But we have to act as a trust agency there. And then the last one there is the emergency management bill from Lucas County was a lot higher this year than what we was in the past several years. And we didn't anticipate that, so.
And I can address that. The accounting problem is last year, our dues or part of our share of the EMA was offset by a credit that they had from the year before where they had more money in their budget and didn't spend it. So last year they gave us a credit, which made us pay them less, but our share was actually a lot larger, but the credit made it smaller. This year there is no credit, so we're actually paying what our share is, and it looks like we're actually increasing, but it's the same amount as last year, except last year was offset by a credit, and there's no credit this year. But that makes sense. I used the word credit enough times, I hope.
So the county makes sense?
We need resolution 12-040.
Correct.
Appropriation from unencumbered funds.
Yes.
Second?
On the roll, Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genoway?
Yes.
The second resolution, 12-041, is for a transfer of appropriations from, this is in the fire grant fund, and again, it has to do with the Ohio EMS grant, and we're transferring from the supplies to the advance out, so when we get the money, we can pay it back to the fire fund. And that's all this one is.
Offer resolution 12-041, transfer appropriations.
Second.
On the roll, Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genoway?
Yes.
The third resolution I have here is 12-042. This is a transfer of funds, and every year we budget monies from the various funds to go into, let me see if you can see it there, into like the road and bridge fund, the cemetery fund. These are the transfer out monies that we talk about. Once we've gotten our settlement in terms of the first half taxes, we like to make these transfers. And these are the exact dollar figures that were approved in the budget. And we're merely just transferring from the various funds to the other funds. We're not spending that money at this particular point.
Offer resolution 12-042, transfer of funds.
Second.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Yes.
Final resolution is, again, has to do with the fire EMS grant, and this is to actually physically advance the money from the fire fund that you previously approved, the appropriation to the grant fund.
Offer resolution -043, advance of funds.
Second.
Calling the roll, Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Thank you, I have nothing else.
Thank you. Open discussion, anybody?
I have nothing, nobody signed the list either for,
I would like to mention the state championship Sylvania Northview hockey team. It was great for the community. Really, I thought it was great. I went up to the celebration Saturday. A lot of old names that I went to school with and things, their kids are now coming through playing, and it was really great for the community. Commissioners Contrada and Wozniak were there and presented the team with a special county token. I think that really took a lot of people's notice, and I really want to congratulate them. So, with that being said, I motion to adjourn.
Second.
Calling the roll, Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.